This RIBA West London walking tour investigated post-war reconstruction in White City, leaving us challenging what the post-COVID reconstruction may be.
We're sort of seeing how the country responded, particularly in this area, responded to the end of World War II. And that's got me asking the question, are we facing a similar sort of scenario now? How can we respond to leaving the pandemic? How do we build a good future going forward?
To understand that truly, we started by discussing what was there before. Beginning at White City Station was appropriate because the entire suburb was developed from farmland in the 1870s with the expansion of the railways. The name White City comes from the 1908 Franco-British exhibition ground, built of white marble-clad pavilions, to commemorate the 50-year anniversary of the signing of the Entente Cordiale, which we got a haunting sense of with the local road names. As the Garden City movement was in full swing for the middle classes escaping the city in the 1930s, London was taking action to clear all of its slums. To house all these displaced people within the financial constraints of the Great Depression, new European ideals were imported. White City Estate was built on the old exhibition grounds and started construction in 1938 along the German Zielenbau ideals of north-south axial blocks. Laid out to gain enough natural light, leaving space for infrastructure and green play areas in between. Walking along these avenues, we got a sense of grandeur, something that must have felt very different from the cramped slums it replaced. Bisecting the blocks, we arrived at a set of municipal buildings, the state bringing people up out of poverty with education at the London County Council designed Canberra Primary School, completed in the 1950s, and Seeley and Paget's unassuming 1953 St Michael and St George's C of E Church. These two neighbouring buildings exemplify the fact World War II caused a huge pause in construction. The need to rehouse people quickly meant the White City Estate continued in the same design even if the 15-year gap had meant that fashion had changed. It was, however, built to a reduced plan because of the post-war material shortages. We witnessed that new fashion in Erno Goldfinger's 1951 Greenside School. Its festival-style architecture is an obvious continuation from the 1930s estates with its bricks. But we can see the forms start to become more informal and bounded by concrete frames. We thought this was prefabricated in order to build hastily and possibly copy and paste the design. Visiting Flora Gardens, we could chart the change in style even more clearly. H.T. Cadbury Brown designed these lean infill blocks matching the height of the pre-war neighbours but with new material treatment. At the Phoenix Academy, we discussed architects' personal influences. Ted Hollenby followed the given style of the time, using timber and brick cladding, but introduced arts and crafts elements, with Morris print tiles inside and curtains depicting pre-Raphaelites. By the 1960s, the state-supported construction still continued, but late European modernism had taken hold, with more concrete being introduced. Everyone on the tour delighted in Malabar Court's hexagonal pods from 1964. That, like the Zielenbau White City Estate around it, still considered light capture. It looks bold and exciting, but as a passing member of the public pointed out, is it actually easy to live in? This expressive nature continued inside the unassuming St Andrew Bobola Polish church, refitted by Alexander Klecki in the 1960s. Because of its smaller scale and church funding, we can see a more lavish material treatment than the mass-scale municipal housing blocks desperately needed for the burgeoning population. The Polish Cultural Centre of 1974 shows a new style. It is most definitely brutalist. With its precast facade and tapering legs, it, along with the church, serves the post-war immigrants and refugees that settled in this area. The late 1970s saw a morphing in style again, distinctly rejecting the monolithic forms of brutalism and bringing in what we could instantly sense was a more village-like aesthetic. We entered hushed courtyards of brick buildings and brick paving. The broken roof forms gave it a very gentle visual from afar, but the walled gardens created a very closed off and closed in atmosphere. The most recent building we looked at was the sublime St Luke's Church from 1978 by Hutchinson, Monk and Locke. That replaced a World War II bomb-damaged church, adding social housing on the site. The whole group instantly lingered in it, drawn in by its careful control of light, conjuring senses of Alvar Aalto and Carlo Scarpa. Now, we don't have bomb-damaged buildings, but the government says we are in a similar economic situation to that after the war. How will we as architects respond to the new world presented to us?